The war held for 3 days. 3 days of an army that didn't retreat and a river that didn't relax. Everyone kept waiting for one of them to blink first. On the third morning, the king called us together, not to discuss the war, to discuss something none of us had wanted to say out loud yet. If Owamiri attacks in force, the king said, this kingdom needs a clear heir standing beside me. Not 2 girls the council still argues about in whispers. 1 name, 1 line of succession. It is time, we decided. I looked at Isioma. She looked at me. Neither of us had ever said the word queen out loud to each other. We had been too busy simply learning how to be sisters. You cannot ask them to compete over a crown 3 days after they finally found each other, Mama Odara said. Some debts should not be paid twice by the same family. Isioma stood before anyone else could speak for her. She had spent her whole life being spoken over. I understood, watching her, that she wasn't going to let that happen about this. I don't want the crown, she said. I spent 17 years being groomed to expect it, and it never once felt like mine. It felt like a debt I was born owing. I am done paying debts I never agreed to. Every eye in that room turned toward me next. I felt the weight of it land somewhere just beneath my ribs. I don't know what I am yet, I said honestly. Some days I feel like a village girl who happens to have royal blood. Other days I feel like the river wearing a girl's shape, borrowing her voice. I don't think I should be crowned anything until I know which one of those is actually true. Perhaps, Baba Fasoranti said, that is the wrong question to keep asking. Perhaps you are not required to choose between the girl and the river. Perhaps you were always both, the same way a river is both water and the banks that shape it. It didn't answer the question of the crown, but it was the first thing anyone had said in days that made the mark on my arm feel a little less like a countdown. The conversation ended the way most important conversations in that palace seemed to, with someone running in before anyone could finish it. The Duke has pulled half his men back from the border, the scouts reported, but smaller groups have been seen moving inland, not toward the wall, around it. The king understood before any of us did. He never intended to cross the river, he said quietly. He only needed us distracted by it. Isioma found it before any of the king's generals did. Her finger traced a path curling away from the river toward a village none of the soldiers had thought to guard. It was a small village, poor, unremarkable to anyone who didn't already know what or who had once lived there. It was Ilesa, my village. The Duke had never been trying to win a war at the border at all. He was clearing a path straight back to where this whole story started. We didn't stop to argue about crowns anymore. There wasn't time. Whatever the Duke wanted from my village, we were about to find out it was never something a war could actually win him. We rode faster than I have ever ridden in my life. I kept thinking about Mama Odara's compound, about the well, about whether any of it would still be standing by the time we arrived. We weren't too late, not yet, but smoke was already rising from somewhere near the edge of the village, and I understood we had arrived with minutes, not hours. They weren't raising the village, they were searching it, house by house, calm and thorough, like men looking for something specific instead of soldiers looking for a fight. I watched them move straight toward Mama Odara's old compound without hesitation, like they already had a map memorized. And I understood all at once that they weren't looking for a person at all. They are looking for the river's original hiding place, Isioma whispered. the exact spot where you were left 17 years ago. My father must know it holds something. I had lived in that compound my entire life. I had never once known there was a hidden space beneath our hearth. Whatever they pulled from that space, they handled it like it might shatter or explode. Possibly both. Dio didn't wait to find out what it was. He moved, and we moved with him before they could carry it back across the border. I got my hands on it in the middle of the fighting, more by luck than skill. The moment my fingers closed around it, I felt something recognize me from underneath the wrapping. Inside the wrapping was a second pendant, identical to the one Mama Odara once described giving me, except this one was carved with two faces pressed together instead of one. There were two, Isioma whispered. She only ever gave you one. This one was always meant to come to me. Except somehow, it ended up hidden here instead of with me. Mama Odara arrived just in time to see what we'd found. I had never seen her look genuinely frightened before that moment. Not once in the entire story. I hid that pendant here, the same night I hid you in the river, she said quietly. I told myself it was to protect Isioma from ever being found. The truth is simpler and worse than that. I was afraid of what would happen if the two of you were ever reunited wearing them both. What happens? I asked slowly. If we are. Mama Odara didn't answer with words. She simply looked at the two pendants and then at the two of us, like the answer was something she'd spent 17 years hoping never to find out. Neither of us decided out loud to try it. We simply reached the same conclusion at the exact same moment, the way sisters apparently do. The moment the two halves touched, the entire compound went completely silent, not just quiet, silent, the way the world goes silent right before something enormous decides to happen. And for the first time since any of this began, I understood that everything up to this moment, the river, the death, the sisters, the Duke, all of it had simply been the story getting ready to ask its real question. And that question had just been answered, whether we were ready for it or not. If you've made it this far, comment 2 houses below. I read every comment and I want to hear your theory. What do you think happens when the two pendants are reunited? If you're new to Moonlight Tales by Joy, welcome. This is where we tell unforgettable African stories filled with mystery, family secrets, betrayal, love, and supernatural twists. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story. Brand new series premiere every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Until the next tale, sleep well and don't trust every story the river tells.